We had a pretty successful soccer season this year. Made it to the playoffs for the first time in school history, which, you know, is huge success in our eyes. So hopefully that will continue going on into the future. You know, volleyball made the playoffs, and you know, we're here for football. We're in the playoffs. Just got our first win in the first round against Randleman, so we're excited for this Friday night against Bun.
Yeah, Bun's a pretty big team. We're going to talk a little later in the show about some football coming up and a big game for the Northside Monarchs after a pretty convincing victory, if you will, over Randleman. And basketball season now just underway. The girls have played 2 games. They are 1-1, a loss at Jacksonville, and then they beat Topsail.
Topsail, yes sir.
At home. And when's the next game coming up for the girls?
Next game actually will be tomorrow night at home at Northside High School against New Hanover. It would actually be season opener for our boys team as well. So we'll have a 4 o'clock JV girls, 5:30 is JV boys, 7 o'clock varsity girls, and then 8:30 varsity boys. Should be a good game. New Hanover always plays tough. So
yeah, we're looking forward to that game. As a matter of fact, we're going to be pretty lucky because Vince, Jim, and we're going to be in the stands calling the game. Our first home game for us here on WABQ Radio. Make sure to stay with us as we'll be bringing you basketball action from the north side, and that is tomorrow. Now, one of the things I like about basketball in North Carolina is you get to see the JV boys, the JV girls,
yep,
and then you get to see the varsity girls and then the varsity boys. You get all 4 of them in one night. How much is the admission to get into the games?
$6 is admission for the game, so pay for one game, you stay for all of them.
So it's buy one, get one free.
Exactly.
Get one free. Wow.
Yeah, get one free.
Buy one, get one free. So that's 13, right?
Yeah.
That's the Black Friday special coming up from Northside Monarchs. And that's every game is buy one, get the rest free.
Exactly.
I tell you what, it's a long night of basketball, but it is a fun night. You get to see a lot of development of the kids that are coming up through the program. I'm not sure if any of the listeners have ever met Coach Novelli or Coach Marshburn, but 2 outstanding coaches.
Absolutely.
They have a lot to say. We really like talking to them as well. We got a chance to sit in Novelli's office last year and talk Cleveland Browns.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Coach Novelli, so that was a highlight of my year. And we got to talk a little bit of Northside basketball as well.
Of course.
I do want to remind you, if you have any questions that you would like for us to ask Brendan Kennedy, feel free to text us at 910-358-8959. Brendan, talk to us about the year in soccer. You said you made the playoffs. Kind of walk us through what led to that and the accomplishments of the soccer team.
This year, I think it's just been the development of the program over the past couple of years. You know, it was our first year, Coach Jared Brown taking over for Brian Akers, but you know, we had a lot of juniors and some seniors, so you know that seniority finally clicked in. We just played well together. You know, we scheduled some tough matches. But you know, had some tough losses, but big wins as well. Beat White Oak for the first time, which is a huge success for us. So I think it's just the chemistry they, you know, put together on the field that really took them over the top.
And in their first playoff game, what was the outcome of it?
They lost. The score was, I believe, 5-2. They played at North Johnson High School. Tough loss, but great experience as well. So.
Sure, and it's something to build off of.
Exactly.
And, you know, the soccer program in Onslow County is so big. You know, the Jacksonville Area Soccer Association, they're one of our proud sponsors of our soccer program on the radio. You know, they're developing a lot of kids that are coming up, and it's nice to see some of the fruits of that. Yeah. You know, coming to Northside and maybe bring in some more interest, if you will, other kids to play as well.
Exactly. You know, I was a soccer player at White Oak, and you know, White Oak's always been a big soccer community. Like you said, all of Jacksonville, Eastern North Carolina, I mean, we breed soccer. That's one of our big things out here. And to be honest with you, it's kind of a shocker to see that, you know, New Onslow County School made the state championship, because, you know, we're familiar with at least one of them representing, you know, our county. But, you know, it's good to see that Northside's actually building a program, and hopefully we'll get more interest from other kids coming over, and we can compete, especially moving up to 3A next year, playing the White Oak and Jacksonville.
Sure, we're actually going to be bringing women's soccer this spring on the radio at Northside.
Awesome. Here
on WABQ Radio. Proud to be able to bring that as well. We bring football already. Of course, you know the Northside Monarchs got a big game coming up this Friday. We also do basketball, women's and men's. And there's a possibility in the future maybe doing a wrestling tournament as well.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. That's a very exciting stuff.
You've got a wrestling tournament, as a matter of fact, coming up, don't you?
We do. January 7th is the Onslow County Cup. We'll be hosting that this year. It rotates between the schools every year, and this is our lucky year, so we'll be doing that, which we're excited about. I know Coach Helsing is very excited about it. So it's going to be a fun time. I think we'll get a lot of people turned out there, and be just good for everybody.
And Coach Pelsang talked to us last week on the show and talked about a hoodie.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the hoodie. You get the hoodie if you win. I'm not too familiar with it. I know that if you win your weight class, you come in first. You get the hoodie that says champion on it, and that's what the wrestlers. It seems very insignificant, but that's what they want. That hoodie that says champion. It's a big thing. I mean, be the top wrestler in Onslow County to represent. So
Sure.
I'm excited.
Talk about how important it is this year having the tournament, being Northside's opportunity to host a tournament this year.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, we always love hosting any type of event when it comes to sporting events. So inviting the community in to see what our school is all about is always a big honor. And, we cherish kind of stuff like that. So.
As well as basketball rolling around right now, a couple games into it, and the men's season kicking off here tomorrow. What other sports right now do you have going on at Northside?
Wrestling just had their first competition this past weekend. They were in the Dixon Bulldog Invitational. Did pretty well as a team and individually with different wrestlers. Obviously, we got basketball season going on. Winter track's picking up, and our swim team. We have a swim team this year, which they haven't competed yet. They'll have their first practice this Monday. Well, actually today, we practice on base. So that's what we got going on right now.
You said the swim team, they swim on base for the practice?
Yeah, so basically all Onslow County schools that do participate in swimming go on Camp Lejeune and New River. And, they have time slots for each school to make sure they can also practice. But that's where they practice, and they compete up in New Bern, Goldsboro, up in Washington, places like that.
Northside is known for their sports programs, all the way from the coaches to yourself, the athletic director. You guys have done an outstanding job with the kids, not only during just the sporting itself, but I think the life coaching as well that comes along with being a part of a team sport. During our coaches' interviews, a lot of what our listeners don't get to see is we talk to the coaches out not only on the radio, but aside.
Yeah.
And some of the stories they tell us are just so inspiring. How I'm very, very proud to have my children going to Northside High School, and not many more, hopefully. The rest of them going to be going to Northside over the next few years. So it makes me proud to be a Northside parent, if you will. So that's an tribute to yourself and all of your coaches. So first of all, I wanted to thank you from this side of the coin. So thank you for the job that you guys do over here at Northside.
No problem. It's definitely the coaches. They really, they are the ones that set the examples for our kids, and really, they are their second parents when their parents aren't around at school. So it's definitely our coaches. It's big, pat on the back for everything they do.
My wife is probably one of the biggest parent cheerleaders that there is for Northside, as anytime I come home from broadcasting a game, she wants to know the score, she wants to know what's going on and who scored well and who tackled who. And speaking of cheerleaders, I wanted to bring up the cheerleaders, the Monarch cheerleaders. They were actually at States.
Yes, they, after the football game, they got on a bus, went down to Raleigh, stayed the night. They had a competition Saturday. They did fairly well. They didn't do bad at all. Our JV girls, I believe, came in second place, actually. They competed. So it was a good turnout for our cheerleaders. Now, they have already qualified for nationals, which they did about a month ago when they went down to Wilmington, Ashley High School, and competed for pre-states. Got first place there. So that all gave them an automatic bid to nationals down in Myrtle Beach in the spring. So.
Myrtle Beach is a beautiful area.
It's a fun weekend for them.
Now, the girls have a pretty big tournament coming out in Asheville, if I'm not mistaken.
The
women's basketball.
Oh, up in Asheville, yeah. Girls and boys are actually going up Friday for the Coaches vs. Cancer basketball tournament they were invited to. I can't remember at the top of my head who they're playing, because the boys and girls are playing two separate teams. But it's a big honor to be invited. It's the first time they've ever done this tournament for high schoolers. It's usually in the college level, the Coaches vs. Cancer. So they're very excited. Nice dinner Friday night when they show up, and then Saturdays when they'll play up at UNC Asheville.
And there were some minimum requirements that each team had to have to be able to participate in the tournament. Talk about how important the community was supporting Northside to raise the funds to be able to participate.
Very important. Each team invited had to raise a minimum of $500, which we surpassed very easily because of the community support. I know the boys basketball team did a glass and gas fundraiser one Saturday up at Sam's Club. where they just took donations, pumped gas for people, cleaned their windows while they're pumping gas, and they raised a little over $2,000 just in pure donations, which is huge. So obviously the community supported the cause, and it was very easy. So.
And again, just another reason to enjoy the community surrounding Northside, and just everybody that makes Northside Monarch Sports what it is. We have some more sports to talk about. We're talking Northside Monarch Sports right here on WAVQ Radio. We are live at Jersey.
I think we're going to be pretty strong. We have a new coach for baseball, Henry Rochelle. Paige Hollis is our softball coach. She's a great coach. I know a lot of the students adore her. You talk about teaching life lessons on top of coaching. She's a person for that. So we're excited. I'm excited to see how we do this year in spring sports.
And Miss Hollis is actually the head coach of the JV girls basketball team as well.
That's correct.
We had a chance to talk with Coach Rochelle a couple of weeks ago, talking about coming up into baseball season and how baseball is starting to bring on a little bit bigger of a life with the Northside community. Talk to us a little bit about some of the things you think that's helping the baseball program grow.
Again, it starts with the coaches, I think. I think Dustin Johns did a good job with the team the past several years. Handed the torch on to Henry now. And I want to say I forgot about lacrosse. Obviously, we got lacrosse in the spring. And when that sport came on, I think it kind of hurt the baseball program because it was a new sport. But I think we're seeing the sports balance each other out now. The numbers are starting to pick up again for baseball. I think we're going to be close to having a JV baseball team this year. We'll have to wait for tryouts to see the numbers, but that will be another huge building block for our program. So we're excited.
The men's lacrosse, that's coached by Coach Bob Eason?
That's correct. And they had a great year last year. We lost a lot of key seniors. I think we're going to be in a rebuilding year. I think we'll still be very competitive against the teams we play this year in conference. But he's a great coach. He loves that sport. He studies it a lot. So I'm excited to see how we do with these kids this year.
Talk to us about how important the sports program at the Jacksonville Commons Middle School is for helping feed as the young students get into the bigger programs at the high school.
Well, it's huge, I think, for any sport. I have noticed, for football particularly, Coach Easton's been over there just to watch and give some tidbits. We've had, when we've had time, some of our current coaches now go over there just to kind of teach, their coaches our offense, defensive schemes. Pollock's invited their head coach over to the office, and they've talked schematic and all that, what kind of offense you run, what they'll be learning when they get to Northside. So it's honestly a big team thing. So they're trying to help us out. They know they're going to be coming up to us, so they want them to be best prepared as possible and keep the winning tradition alive here at Northside.
Talk to us about Northside's tennis program.
Tennis program, well, it was big this year for girls. We had Allie Berkeley make it to the regionals, which was huge. She came in second in the conference tournament, which is another big feat for us. But they did well. They did well. Boys program, we'll wait and see how they do. I think it's going to be a good turnout for them in the spring. But Carrie Cobb, our head coach, she did a great job with the girls this year, so I couldn't be more happy with her.
That's my daughter's favorite teacher.
She's a great teacher. She's my mentor, so for my teaching. So yeah, she's a great person, great teacher, great coach. Great person, sorry.
Yeah, no, Coach Cobb, we get to talk to him sometimes up in the broadcast booth, so it would be interesting to have dinner with Coach Cobb and his wife some night and bring my daughter along. That's her two favorite people in the world, I think.
They're great. They make a great team, I can tell you that.
The Cobbs. We're going to talk a little bit about the track and field program at Northside as well.
Track and field, we have a new coach this year. It's going to be Chris Harris. He was actually our head JV football coach. So he's going to be heading that up. They've been practicing this week, and they should have their first meet next week. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. But again, we're very excited. He just made his final roster on Friday. I got the roster, so I think we're going to be very competitive this winter in track and field.
Cool. Just a couple more questions for you, Brendan. This was the pilot year in football where the conference champion made the playoffs, and then there was no other guarantees below that. They won by overall record. Now this year we saw East Duplin win the conference. Very good football team this year. Hopefully we'll get to see them again in a rematch. And then we also had Northside making the playoffs, and you had Southwest as well making the playoffs. The weird thing about Southwest is in the same conference as us, but they're in a different playoff bracket than us. there's no chance we even see them during the playoffs. So realistically, we could have 2 state champions in the same conference.
Essentially, with the 2A, 2AA, depending on the size of the school. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the whole playoff system.
Neither am I.
You saw us have to travel up to a 7-4 school 3.5 hours away, which, you know, we're an 8-3 team. Doesn't make much sense to me, but you know, that's what the state wanted to do. Again, hopefully it is just a little trial period. Hopefully we don't have to deal with it next year. It just happened that all the top teams in the state happened to be in the East, so they had to give the Mid-East region some better seeding than us. That's why we saw Randleman get that higher seed than us.
And it was weird how the seeding worked. The number 1 Mid-East seed faced the number 8 East seed.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 Mid-East faced the 7 East, and then it worked vice versa. So the seeding, as you pointed out, could be a team with a better record traveling a long ways to play a team with a losing record.
Yep.
One of the big positives, though, being able to go to Randleman, was being able to be at the high school that some famous NASCAR drivers went to.
Richard Petty.
Yeah, Richard and Kyle Petty.
And it was honestly, I was impressed by the stadium. I mean, it was pretty cool place. So I'm happy that we got to go. Happier we got the win out of it. But it was a great atmosphere. I mean, I've never seen a stadium kind of set up like that, but I really enjoyed it. And Randleman High School, their administration, great hosts. They fed our food. Our team food, provided dinner for them. And they had a little, you know, they fed us through the administration.
They fed us as well. Boy, I tell you what, we enjoyed Randleman as well. The whole staff was really nice, and during a lot of the breaks when we would walk on their side of the broadcast booth, there is sides, there's a line, we're not allowed to cross.
Yeah.
When we crossed onto their side, they were talking about how fast and how good Northside was. Nothing negative. They just knew that they were overpowered and that they were beat. One more question now. Northside next year is moving up from 2A to 3A.
Correct.
Kind of talk to us just for a couple of minutes about the effect that it's having on you and the staff.
Effect-wise, it's not affecting us. I mean, basically all it's going to do is realign our conference. Now we're going to be in conference with White Oak, Jacksonville, Swansboro, Havelock, and I want to say West Carteret, I believe is the last school. It's a 6-school conference we're going to be in. Competition is going to just be tougher. Bigger size schools, you have better chance to have more athletes. So I think we're going to do well, though. We played tough competition, especially in football this year. We played against Havelock. We beat Jacksonville, beat White Oak. So I think we'll be okay when it comes to football. Basketball, I think this is going to be one of the best years Northside sees for basketball, the players we have coming back. So, we'll have to wait and see. We're excited, especially when we have, our rivals now in town in our conference. So.
And speaking of basketball, make sure tomorrow night, Northside, the Monarchs, we just played Jacksonville in week 1. Northside will be at home tomorrow as they are hosting New Hanover County. We'll be visiting for men's and women's basketball action